formalized the impeachment inquiry into President Biden that House Republicans have been pursuing now for months with little or nothing so far to show for it. President Biden tonight called it a baseless political stunt. The vote, 221 to 212, was entirely along party lines. Pushing for it earlier today, House Speaker Mike Johnson said tonight's action was, quote, called for and appropriate, which is certainly a change from the Mike Johnson of 4 years ago, who believed the exact opposite when the subject of the impeachment was Donald Trump.
The founding fathers, the founders of this country, warned against single-party impeachments, and they had a very specific reason for warning us against that. They said that it would be bitterly divisive, perhaps irreparably divisive for the country, and that's what's happened now.
So that was 4 years ago. When Mike Johnson said that, he had already seen plenty of evidence against the former president, including sworn testimony from ex-administration officials that the former president had tried to pressure Ukraine's president into investigating, or at least announcing an investigation into then-candidate Biden and his son Hunter. That wasn't enough for him then. This time, though, it is different. There's next to no evidence of impeachable offenses, yet he is on record all the way back in August saying, and I quote, "The evidence and the allegations against President Biden are the worst in the history of the country. It's not even close," he said. Now, keeping him honest, in addition to lumping allegations and evidence together, he's the one making the allegations, along with a number of top Republican committee chairmen, which lends a certain echo chamber quality to it all. But even for Republicans who are not making allegations and who say they just want answers, it's worth examining what this search for answers has yielded so far.
Today, the House Oversight Committee is releasing subpoenaed bank records that show Hunter Biden's business entity, a Wasco PC, made direct monthly payments to Joe Biden. This wasn't a payment from Hunter Biden's personal account, but an account for his corporation that received payments from China and other shady corners of the world.
So that's House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer talking about what evidence would later suggest were repayments of a car loan back in 2018 before Joe Biden was president. And though there has been testimony that Hunter Biden played up his relationship with his father, neither Chairman Comer's committee nor Jim Jordan's Judiciary Committee have established that Hunter Biden influenced any decisions by President Biden or then Vice President Biden. So far, in fact, they've uncovered no evidence that what Hunter Biden has been saying and said again at the Capitol today is not true.
My father was not financially involved in my business, not as a practicing lawyer, not as a board member of Burisma, not in my partnership with a Chinese private businessman, not in my investments at home nor abroad, and certainly not as an artist.
Hunter Biden was supposed to be questioned by the Oversight Committee in private today, and in defying the subpoena, he's certainly adding to his troubles, which now include 2 federal indictments. But again, this has nothing to do with his father and his capacity as president. But don't tell that to Chairman Comer, who had this to say about Hunter Biden's most recent indictment last week on tax charges.
We think there are many more crimes, and my concern is that Weiss may have indicted Hunter Biden to protect him from having to be deposed.
Yes.
In the House Oversight Committee.
Yes. He indicted him to protect him. Yes. The classic rubric. He indicted him to protect him. I got it.
So in that indictment and the earlier one, prosecutors lay out the evidence that they have gathered. Chairman Comer and Jordan so far have not. They've made plenty of allegations and a lot of TV appearances, which could be entirely the point. Just ask the former president, who recently posted this on his social network: "Biden is a stone-cold crook. You don't need a long inquiry to prove it. It's already proven." Joining us now, one of the no votes, California Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff, who oversaw the former president's first impeachment. So, Congressman, what is your reaction to the vote tonight? And are you surprised at all by the unanimous Republican support?
I'm not surprised. These are not serious people. This is not a serious impeachment inquiry. It is a tragedy and a farce, and it's motivated by 2 things. One of them, I think, was that social media post that you just showed on the screen. That is, they want to dilute the stain of Trump's 2 legitimate impeachments with an illegitimate impeachment of Joe Biden. They have no affirmative agenda for the country. They're doing nothing on housing, nothing on food, nothing on healthcare, nothing on climate change, nothing on gun safety. What they are doing, they did a sham censure of me. They vacated their own speaker. They had to expel one of their own members. And now they're engaged in a farce of an impeachment proceeding as a way of, I guess, taking up time on the floor because they have nothing else to offer the American people. It's a terrible reason for an impeachment proceeding.
I mean, there are moderate Republicans who want to do good. Did they go along with this just because of pressure from their constituents, because of pressure to toe the line with the former president?
Absolutely. One of the things that Donald Trump did well and did shrewdly is anyone who stepped an inch out of line, he would come down on like a ton of bricks, and he would organize primary challenges and go after them. And you know what we've seen is a epidemic of cowardice in the GOP conference, and that's what's motivating this here. When you contrast, as you alluded, the overwhelming evidence that we had that President Trump had withheld hundreds of millions of dollars from Ukraine to extort President Zelensky into helping his presidential campaign, or the evidence that was before all of us in Congress of President Trump's incitement of a violent attack on the Capitol, the subject of the 2 impeachments of Donald Trump, to the lack of any evidence of wrongdoing on the part of Joe Biden. It just shows you the glaring abuse of this process, and it just invites further abuse of impeachment or any other tool, censure, or anything else by this MAGA crowd.
Is it clear to you how House Republicans are going to try to find evidence of high crimes or misdemeanors now? I mean, they've come up short for months with multiple investigations.
They have, and I think they have no idea. And I think what they also don't fully appreciate, and this is something I think Speaker Pelosi understood, and that is, once you get this train started, you darn well better be sure you have the evidence. And you may need to gather further insights and flesh out that evidence, but it gathers momentum on its own, and then it becomes very difficult to stop. But the Republican conference doesn't seem to be able to think ahead of next week or tomorrow, and so they're putting the country on this train destined for nowhere. And so, you know, by contrast, you know, we did a thorough investigation. We waited until the evidence was ripe even to begin a formal inquiry. And we see none of that happening here. This is an impeachment in search of a reason for being. It is an impeachment with a target, but no evidence of a high crime or misdemeanor.
So now,
and in that respect, it's
so
totally
now
ass backwards.
Comer and Jordan are going to start. They say they're going to start contempt proceedings against Hunter Biden for not appearing at his scheduled deposition today. They referenced you in their joint statement, saying, "quote Democrats have used depositions in their investigations, including the Adam Schiff impeachment inquiry." I'm wondering what your response is to that.
We did use depositions, and we used open hearings, and they offered Hunter Biden an open hearing, and then they told him no, they wouldn't accept it. Look, I welcome that hearing in the Judiciary Committee, because I think I will move to add Jim Jordan to the contempt motion. You know, Anderson, I don't understand how these people do it. We're going to have Jim Jordan, who failed to appear for his own deposition, failed to cooperate with a deposition. He's going to be the one to convene a contempt hearing of Hunter Biden. I'll be very interested to see what that looks like, but if he brings a contempt motion, he should be added to it.
Congressman Schiff, thank you for your time. Want to get